The Death Egg has been destroyed after a battle between Robotnik and Super Sonic. It eventually goes crashing back down onto Earth, with Robotnik surviving due to being in his Death Egg robot. He thankfully isn't dead, but not completely unscathed. Once Robotnik is able to pull out of the Death Egg remains, he sees another rodent standing right before him. Knuckles the Echidna. Knuckles grabs the doctor by his shirt collar, asking him where he came from and why this giant ship crashed into their island. Robotnik tries to weasel his way out by saying he was attacked by a human kid and a hedgehog trying to steal the Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles immediately drops Robotnik, asking him how he knows about the Chaos Emeralds. They shouldn't exist in this dimension anymore. Robotnik is happy that this Echidna knows about the Emeralds, so now he can twist the story even more. Robotnik explains to Knuckles that he caught these kids using the Dragon Balls to wish for the Chaos Emeralds back into this dimension. So he tried to use his advanced robotics to stop them, but they tapped into its power and almost killed him. Knuckles is furious, apologizing to the doctor for being so rough, and says he's one of the guardians of the Master Emerald, so he will personally make sure to stop these kids from using the emeralds to harm anybody else. Knuckles leads Robotnik over to the Master Emerald, calling out for Mr. Popo, hoping that he'll understand the story. Mr. Popo comes over to hear out Robotnik's story, though unfortunately for him, he doesn't really seem to buy it. Mr. Popo tells the two to follow him, as they should ask Kami himself how he feels about him. Mr. Popo, Knuckles, and Robotnik make their way up to the Shrine of the Emerald to meet with Kami, guardian of the planet. Kami hears out Robotnik's story, though he's not an idiot. He can clearly tell he's lying about being all innocent, but he does seem to be telling the truth about the Chaos Emeralds returning. He did notice around a year ago that the Dragon Balls are used for something, but he had no idea it would be to bring the Emeralds back. He made sure to banish them into the Special Zone shortly after the Piccolo incident in case he ever broke out and tried to go after their power. Now that they're back, they are a danger to the universe. Kami says that they need to go out and find this Monkey Boy and Hedgehog, so that way they can get the Emeralds back. He can't go himself as he needs to stay up here, and Mr. Popo offers that Knuckles go with Robotnik, as this can be a chance for him to prove himself as the future protector of the Master Emerald. Kami agrees that Knuckles is indeed ready, and he is tasked with going with Robotnik to find the Chaos Emeralds, though warns him not to fully trust the stranger just yet. Knuckles tells Kami he'll do the best that he can, and he goes off with Robotnik. The two don't really have a concrete way of getting off of Angel Island themselves, so Robotnik asks for a bunch of resources to be able to build a way out. After getting some supplies, Eggman is able to take those pieces and pieces from the destroyed Death Egg to turn this part of the forest into the launch base zone, where they can use it to get off of the island and track down Goku and Sonic. The two launch off of the island down to the planet to go and find the two, though it won't be as simple as knowing their exact location, as they could be anywhere on the planet. Robotnik knows that the easiest way to get their attention would be to unleash a bunch of badniks around, though Knuckles definitely won't let that happen, so he needs to come up with a new plan. The Chaos Emerald radar was busted, and without a Chaos Emerald in his possession for himself, he can't just make a new one. And Kami won't let him go anywhere near the Master Emerald to use its power, so they're just lost at the moment. Robotnik doesn't like the idea of playing like a good guy, but if he wants to survive, he has to keep up the act, since they can't find the two. Robotnik turns more of the launch base zone into his own making, which kind of upsets Knuckles, but Robotnik keeps informing him it's for the greater good in finding the emeralds, so he's allowed to keep going. With Robotnik out of the way for now, our heroes are able to go on about their lives. Sonic, Tails, and Amy have been off exploring the world and freeing all of the badniks that they can find. They have no way of knowing how many are still out there, but for some reason the Chaos Emeralds aren't responding to any call to power at this time like they did to get rid of the badniks before. If Sonic really wanted to, he could go super, but he really doesn't need to right now, so they're just sitting around like a bunch of rocks. Sonic doesn't mind at all though, as he really enjoys the adventure with his friends, going out and exploring. Amy still tries to pine after Sonic, but he pretty much shuts her down every time, so she's kinda stopped trying to be up his butt. She is fully capable of herself with the Pico hammer, and through their world tour, has become a much more capable fighter. Tails too, as while Sonic doesn't really want to do a whole training routine with Roshi once more, he still would like to spar once in a while, so to make sure that they don't get really sloppy, he trains with Tails and Amy. They don't do anything super rough of course, but just enough where they won't get all tired out. Besides Sonic, Goku has been out exploring the world and making quite a name for himself. He's traveled to multiple different villages and taken out a few baddies, like the evil witch cart, and some weird military birds who kinda remind him of the Red Ribbon Army guys, but a lot less threatening. It's been really fun, and he's even bumped into Sonic, Tails, and Amy a couple times, with them having some food, sparring, and just hanging out. This short while of peace goes on for a couple of years actually. Since the groups are moving around so much, Robotnik was never able to find them. Of course, it's annoyed Kami, but the world isn't in danger right now, so he's not really in any rush. Besides, a few years aren't really anything to him. Though, eventually, they do get something. A massive energy surge occurs one day over Angel Island, with Robotnik going missing. Knuckles is kind of panicking as Robotnik was his responsibility, but eventually, after another energy surge, Robotnik returned in a daze. This kinda confused Knuckles, though once Robotnik returned, he noticed that he seems to have something. Robotnik says he feels like he just had a very grand experience, and while he doesn't remember much of it, he remembers the important detail that matters at this time, and tells Knuckles that he's found them. Sonic, Tails, and Goku all land right on the ground from a purple mist, feeling a little sore and wondering what just happened. Sonic wonders how Goku got here, with him wondering the same thing. Maybe they partied a little too hard last night. Of course, Goku realizes that the World Tournament is supposed to be today, so that's why he stopped by, to ask them if they'd like to enter. Sonic doesn't really have fond memories of the last World Tournament, and while he doubts Metal Sonic would show up again, he's kinda worried about something like that happening again. His fears are then kinda realized when something crashes through the roof. Sonic, Goku, and Tails get into a fighting position when they see Silver Sonic facing towards them, another version of Metal Sonic. He knew it, Eggman is still alive after all. Silver Sonic talks in Eggman's voice, leaving a message. He tells the group that he survived the events on the Death Egg, and is currently on Angel Island. If they want to put a stop to him once and for all, then they had better make their way up there, before he goes down to end them himself with his new friends. The message stops as Silver Sonic launches back into the air, presumably back to that Angel Island place. Sonic is kinda happy that Eggman is still alive, as this is just a new challenge for him. Goku is more disappointed, as today is the day of the tournament. Sonic can tell how bummed out Goku seems, so Sonic tells him that he should go and participate anyways. Him and Tails can handle Egghead for now, and once the tournament is finished, he can head on over to Angel Island to help him out. Goku thinks about it and realizes, yeah, he can definitely do both. He promises he'll try to help them out later, as he heads off to go participate in the tournament. Sonic and Tails ready the tornado, with Tails putting in the coordinates for Angel Island, as the two head off to go and confront Eggman. Sonic and Tails fly over to Korin Tower, past the ocean, and up high into the sky to see Angel Island. Tails is concerned if Eggman has taken over this whole island, and says they might want to be cautious. Though, cautious isn't a word in Sonic's vocabulary, so once they touch down the island, Sonic just barrels off to go and find Eggman. He barely gets anywhere though, as he instantly punched right in the face, dropping all of the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic goes flying back, seeing Knuckles right in front of him. Knuckles yells out that Robotnik was telling the truth after all, as he stole the Chaos Emeralds from the Special Zone. This must be that new friend Eggman was talking about. He can't let him get the Chaos Emeralds again, so Sonic rushes in to fight him and get him away. Sonic and Knuckles clash, with Sonic surprised on how durable and strong Knuckles is. He can't tell if he is stronger than Goku or not, but he is definitely up there. Thankfully, with his speed, he's able to run some circles around him, but he doesn't know how long he'll be able to keep up with him. Knuckles is disappointed, as he expected a person who stole the Chaos Emeralds to be stronger than this. Though, maybe it's because he wasn't alone, as Tails swoops in to take a shot at Knuckles as well. Tails isn't as fast as Sonic, but he can move pretty fast too, with his flight being quite a big issue for Knuckles. These two aren't going to best him though, as he's the future guardian of the Master Emerald. Knuckles grabs the two of them by the face, and begins to slam them all around the area. Sonic is eventually able to break out of his hold, but Tails not so much, as he's getting slammed around. When he tries to go and attack, Knuckles holds out Tails in front of him as a shield, and hits Sonic with him. Sonic won't let this scumbag keep hurting Tails like this, so while Knuckles is busy bargaining Tails, he runs all around to grab the emeralds, and transform into Super Sonic. Super Sonic teleports behind Knuckles, shooting out a Chaos Beam at him to knock him off at Tails. Super Sonic uses the power of the emeralds to heal Tails a little bit, as he goes back after Knuckles. Knuckles looks in awe at the power of Super Sonic, as he somehow managed to tap into the emerald's raw power and use it as his own. He didn't think anybody besides Kami was ever able to do that. He still tries to fight with Super Sonic, but every hit he lands pretty much does nothing. Super Sonic says it's over for him, he won't let Eggman get these emeralds to destroy the planet. Knuckles is confused on what he's talking about. These guys are the ones who want to destroy the planet, right? Super Sonic decks Knuckles away, and Knuckles realizes that to stop these guys for good, he's gonna have to reach into his own power granted to him by Kami. Knuckles looks deep inside himself, a green glow surrounding him. He flies up, and suddenly transforms. Mr. Popo sees the Master Emerald glow slightly, and is kinda worried, as Knuckles has never had to rely on the Chaos Energy in a fight before. Super Sonic can't believe he's seeing another super form without the Chaos Emeralds. But this isn't a traditional super form, he doesn't think. It feels different. Knuckles has transformed into Chaos Knuckles. The two rush headfirst at each other, with their headbutt causing a gigantic after effect through the entirety of Angel Island. The two fight with all they have, Super Sonic revving up a figure eight to the face, with Chaos Knuckles delivering multiple knuckle sandwiches. It is clear though that Chaos Knuckles has a much better handle on his own super form than Super Sonic, and knows how to use all sorts of chaos energy that Super Sonic has no idea even exists. He's able to blind him, freeze him in place, all things that are taking a toll onto super form. The super form may be invulnerable to most regular people, but to another superpowered being, taking a hit really stings. The two continue the battle against one another, tearing up most of the area they're in right now, which bothers Chaos Knuckles, as this is still his home. He decides the best way to fully get rid of Super Sonic is to take him away. Chaos Knuckles is able to grab onto Super Sonic and use Chaos Control to warp them right in front of Kami. Super Sonic is confused on why he is now in some weird shrine, until he stops right in place, seeing this other weird green guy holding out his hand. He's holding on to this giant Chaos Emerald and chanting something. Whatever he's doing is freezing him in place, and before long, Sonic loses his super form and falls right to the ground. Kami walks down to Sonic to examine him. He tells Sonic they tried to take the Chaos Emeralds right out of him, but for some reason, they resisted and only took away the super form. They seem to want to be attached to him, which shows that he isn't really a bad person after all, is he? Sonic is very confused on what's going on, as Kami tells Knuckles to explain what Robotnik told them. Knuckles reverts back into his normal self, not really wanting to give the enemy information, but it is an order from Kami, so he tells Sonic everything. After this explanation, Sonic realizes that Eggman tried to paint him as the bad guy again, revealing that he used the Dragon Balls to wish the Emeralds back into this dimension, and used their power to launch a Death Egg. This, Kami believes. He can sense good intentions in a hedgehog, compared to that of Robotnik, saying that while Robotnik may not be the most evil person he's ever encountered, he is still a large threat if he gets those emeralds. In fact, if Knuckles is here, then who's watching Robotnik? Suddenly, a large explosion at a certain distance, with Kami sensing that something is terribly wrong. A figure then launches straight at them yelling,
"I'll crush you!"
Mecha Sonic punches Sonic across the face, sending him flying away as he tries to grab all of the Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles and Mr. Popo step in to stop him, but Mecha Sonic proves to be a little too fast for them as he zips all around and knocks the two into each other. Kami tries to jump in to stop him, but Mecha launches a missile directly in his direction.
Die!
Kami dodges, but realizes it may hit the Master Emerald. Kami then jumps back in to stop the missile, luckily stopping it right in time so it doesn't hit the Emerald, but injuring him in the process. Mecha Sonic takes all of the Emeralds, absorbing them inside himself to become Super Mecha Sonic.
All will tremble before me!
The explosion of power rattles the whole island as everybody looks in fear at this brand new terror. Silver Sonic flies behind Super Mecha, with Eggman's voice once again. Eggman laughs, so while he was there, he has gathered all the resources he needs to fully take over Angel Island, and finally get his revenge against Sonic. If Sonic can go super, then why can't one of his robots? Thankfully, with Knuckles blabbing all there is to know about Chaos Emeralds, he was able to build Mecha to be compatible with their power. They stand no chance now. Knuckles is infuriated with himself for giving all his information to Eggman, and transforms back into his Chaos form, going after the two of them. Super Mecha teleports in front of Chaos Knuckles, punching him straight to the ground.
This is the end of the line!
He then sets his sights on Kami, until Sonic barrels into him, attempting to protect the Guardian. Unfortunately for Sonic, all this is doing is annoying Mecha, so he tries to run all around to avoid him. Super Mecha has gotten a speed boost along with the Emeralds, however, and is able to outrun Sonic, beginning to wail on him as well.
Is that your best?
To make matters worse, the whole island begins to shake once again, as the Death Egg begins to rise from the launch base zone. All seems lost, though thankfully, Chaos Knuckles comes back in to clobber Mecha away. He apologizes to Sonic for letting this happen, saying he'll try to handle this one, but he should go after Eggman. Sonic thanks Knuckles as he rushes off to find Eggman. Sonic radios to Tails that they really need to get up there to stop the Death Egg, as Tails flies by overhead in a tornado already on it. Sonic jumps on as they notice that Eggman isn't on the ship itself, but is following it on a ship of his own. Sonic tells Tails that this is between him and Eggman. He needs to go and find a way to bring this thing down. Tails tells Sonic he'll try his best, as Sonic jumps off the tornado, and homing attacks right at Eggman. Eggman's ship is hit dead on by Sonic, as it lands on a platform near the rising Death Egg. Eggman is able to gain control of his ship again, asking Sonic how he did that. Sonic responds with homing attack. He's learned some new moves while Egghead is over on his island vacation. Eggman glares at Sonic, telling him he's ruined his plans of world domination too many times now. This time, he's finally going to put an end to him once and for all. With his robot having the Chaos Emeralds, there is no way to stop him. Sonic doubts that as he prepares to rush at Eggman once again. That is until a big arm erupts from Eggman's mech, punching Sonic right across the face. Eggman's mech then fully transforms into the big arm boss, with Sonic saying this might be a little tougher than he thought. Sonic and Eggman begin to battle it out with each other, with this little distraction being enough for Tails to make his way into the Death Egg's cockpit, and try to shut it down from the inside. They need to make this fast too, as Chaos Knuckles is still dealing with Super Mecha Sonic. Super Mecha Sonic is extremely fast and powerful, being able to keep up with Knuckles' Chaos form, which isn't looking good for him. Kami, however, he's holding on to the Master Emerald, attempting to chant away the Chaos Emerald from Mecha's body. Unfortunately, it isn't as easy as it was against Sonic, since this is a fully mechanical being, with the Master Emerald having trouble handling it. This is when he realizes something. Knuckles' power comes from a power-up from the Master Emerald. It isn't as powerful as having the Master Emerald fully power up itself, as at his age, if he tried using the full power of the Emerald, it may kill him. He can use that kind of logic to his advantage. Kami decides to use a different chant on the Master Emerald, as Chaos Knuckles is taking a bloody beating from Super Mecha Sonic, laughing all the while that
I am the mightiest!
Chaos Knuckles doesn't know how much more he can take, when suddenly Super Mecha Sonic begins to glow brighter. He can feel that he is getting stronger and stronger. The Emeralds are giving him more power each second. He looks to see that Kami is using the Master Emerald to power up the Emeralds. Why is he doing that? This is when he finds out. His body begins to melt from all of that power. He's being given too much energy. At this rate, if he doesn't eject the Emerald from his system now, he'll overload. He is under strict orders from Robotnik to never lose them, however, so it's against his programming. Super Mecha Sonic screams out,
I was beaten! How?
as the Emeralds overload him with so much power that he explodes in a brilliant rainbow color. Knuckles reverts back to normal, relieved that it's over. Kami tells him it's not over yet, as they look up towards the Death Egg and hope that Sonic can stop it from destroying the planet. Sonic and Eggman are locked in combat, with Sonic unleashing new moves like the homing attack and the light speed dash all around Eggman to hurt the mech even more. Eggman wonders how Sonic can do this type of damage even without the Chaos Emeralds, with Sonic telling him he hasn't just been slacking off all this time. He's been trying to get more moves for himself without the Emeralds. It seems to have paid off. Eggman curses Sonic as he hits the machine one final time, blowing up the outer shell and sending Eggman spiraling back towards the island. Right as Sonic dealt the finishing blow, Tails tells Sonic he managed to override the launch sequence, but if he stops it now, then it has an emergency self-destruct sequence. He doesn't know what they should do. Sonic is worried too, as if they allow it to launch, then it'll roboticize the whole planet. But if they stop it now, it'll self-destruct and wipe out the whole island. What should they do? A voice behind Sonic tells him that he knows exactly what to do. Sonic turns to see Chaos Knuckles flying behind him, but is it Chaos Knuckles? He looks to be a different color. Knuckles tells Sonic that with the power of the Chaos Emeralds, he's now Hyper Knuckles. And he knows how to get rid of the Death Egg. He lets the Emeralds fly all around Sonic as well, granting him the power of Super Sonic once more. Super Sonic is surprised, as he didn't think that two people could use the Emeralds at the same time. Super Sonic tells Tails to get out of the Death Egg now, as him and Hyper Knuckles will finish it off. Tails quickly flies out, as the two of them fly underneath the Death Egg and put their hands right on it. They both power up, pushing the Emeralds to grant them more power. As they shout out, Chaos Control. The Death Egg is filled with their Chaos energy, and with the power of Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles, the Death Egg is teleported outside of Earth's range and explodes out of harm's way. The threat of the Death Egg is no more. Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles high five as they Chaos Control themselves back to the Master Emerald's altar to tell the others that they did it. Tails gives Super Sonic a big hug, congratulating him on defeating Eggman again, with Kami congratulating Hyper Knuckles for his victory. This is when Eggman appears once more in his Egg Mech, snatching the Master Emerald right out from the altar, flying off saying he's not losing again. Kami yells out, as without the power of the Master Emerald, the island won't be in the sky for long. Angel Island begins to quickly fall from the sky, with Kami yelling out for the two to go after him and get the Master Emerald back. Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles blast off after Eggman, quickly catching up to him and ramming into his mech to get the Master Emerald back. They have to be careful though, as they don't want to damage the Emerald. They continue to ram into Eggman as he launches more missiles at them to get them to back off. Regular missiles are nothing to them, as they can just avoid these easily, and eventually they deal the final blow in Eggman's mech to blow out its jetpack and send him hurtling towards the ground. The two fly down after him, with Eggman realizing he's going to lose once again. He's not going down without hurting them though. Eggman says that if he can't have the Master Emerald, then nobody can, as he barrages it with missiles. The two yell out at him to stop, but it's too late. The Master Emerald explodes, blasting all three of them down to the island, right as it crashes into the sea. The whole island shakes, as Hyper Knuckles goes to rip Eggman right out of his mech, telling him he has no idea what he's just done. Hyper Knuckles is about to finish Eggman right then and there, until Super Sonic looks on towards the shards of the Master Emerald in confusion. He tells Hyper Knuckles to wait a minute, and look over at the remains of the Emerald. Hyper Knuckles looks towards the shards, but that's not what he's looking at. He's looking at who is standing over them. He sees the Demon King Piccolo. Piccolo slowly looks up, laughing maniacally. Free. He is finally free. He throws the call towards the others, telling her she can't keep him trapped anymore, as he asks the three in front of him who they are and if they freed him. Hyper Knuckles is shaking in fear. He's heard his stories of him before. He knows how dangerous he is. Eggman speaks up though. Seeing that this guy is clearly rattling Knuckles, he states that he was the one to free him, and these animal creatures tried to stop him. Piccolo looks at Eggman, thanking him for his kind service and if he'd like to work under him in taking over the planet. Him? Work under somebody? Yeah, he doesn't see that happening. Eggman says he wants to take over this planet on his own, and isn't too keen on taking orders from anybody else. Piccolo laughs again, saying what a shame, as he fires a Chaos Spear right through Eggman's chest. Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles gasp, as Eggman spits out blood, looking down at a giant hole in his chest. He then looks up once more at Sonic, his eyes asking, why? As he falls to the ground, dead. Super Sonic can't believe it. Eggman, dead? Just like that. He didn't even give him a chance. He rushes Piccolo, saying he didn't need to kill him, as he is punched right in the chest. Super Sonic spits up blood, the impact taking all of the wind out of him. How is that possible? Piccolo then lifts his arms up and slams the back of Super Sonic's head, sending him right into the ground, knocked right out of his super form. Hyper Knuckles launches a barrage of Chaos Blasts at Piccolo, though he just catches them all in his hands, crushing them. He guesses that Kami was the only one who could really use the emeralds to their fullest capabilities, as these two are just pathetic. Piccolo appears behind Hyper Knuckles to show him what a Chaos Blast really looks like. Hyper Knuckles is blown away, landing right next to Sonic, out of his super form as well. Piccolo laughs, saying he's still got it, and lifts up his finger, summoning the 7 Chaos Emeralds from these two back towards him. With their power, he can now fully take over this planet for himself. That is until Kami lands in front of Piccolo, using Chaos Control to send the emeralds off. Piccolo glares. Kami, his other half. Kami tells Piccolo that he won't let him destroy this planet, even if he has to take his own life to do it. Piccolo appears right behind Kami though, without him even noticing, knocking him out with a simple neck chop. Piccolo tells Kami that he's lost his touch in his old age, throwing him over his shoulder as he flies up into the air. He won't be sealed away again, and this time, Kami can't stop him. Piccolo laughs maniacally as he launches a Chaos Beam straight at Angel Island, completely destroying it. Meanwhile, the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament has just wrapped up. This tournament played out pretty differently, but also mostly the same as in canon. All of the participants who were in the last tournament were in this one, even the rivals of the Turtle School, the Crane School. The members of the Crane School, Tien and Chaozu, are very powerful in their own right, though, in this continuity, nothing to Goku. You see, Goku's been training with much more powerful people than he did in canon, with the rough fights with Eggman helping too. As through those, he got a few Zenkais, meaning that Goku pretty much sweeps the tournament. Tien has no chance against Goku, though he isn't really trying to kill him either, since in this timeline, Goku never killed Tao, Eggman did. Through getting his butt kicked by Goku, did get him to reconsider the whole being evil thing. Goku managed to win the tournament, and is wicked proud of himself for it, as he made new friends in Tien and Chaozu. The group, to celebrate Goku's victory, all went out to dinner, with Goku remembering that he left his Power Pole and 4-star ball back at the tournament, with Krillin volunteering to go and get it for him. As they wait for Krillin to get back, they see breaking news as a floating island crashed into the ocean below. and then was completely destroyed by a large beam of light. Goku is instantly concerned, as Sonic is supposed to be there fighting Eggman. He is then filled with dread as he senses something else. He immediately rushes back to the tournament grounds to see Krillin down on the floor with a weird water monster over him. Goku fires a Kamehameha at the monster, destroying it as he stands over Krillin to find that he is dead. Roshi stares in horror, seeing the water monster as he looks outside to see many more just like it running around. He trembles, watching these monsters destroy everything around them. The others ask what is going on, as Roshi tells them that the Demon King himself, Chaos Piccolo, has returned. And that's where we're going to be leaving this episode for right now. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this different version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as I combined a lot of different story elements into this one, even adding a little bit of Sonic Adventure in there, as you can tell. Before we head off, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing patrons for all their continued support, and to welcome 2 new patrons, Bossmaker and Thomas Billington. Thank you guys for becoming patrons, it really means a lot. If everybody else wants to show their support for this series, then make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video around so we can hit 1K likes. As once we hit that, I'll begin working on part 6, which is gonna be a big one. Thank you all so much for watching, and until we meet again. See you later!